Hello everyone, I'm ImKibitz and welcome back to Satisfactory. We're after completing our Starforge and automating nuclear pasta. We have everything we need to return to and complete our nuclear power plant by automating Fixonium fuel rods. A pretty meh power source, to be honest, but by making this stuff, we make Fixonium, and Fixonium uses plutonium waste, and if we can use our plutonium waste in something, we'll be able to burn our plutonium fuel rods, and these suckers are the best power source in the game. Only catch is that Fixonium is a bit of a complicated supply chain with weird byproducts and evil nightmare materials. And so in case if anything goes wrong, the first step on the journey is this. This is a diorama of our emergency nuclear waste processing plant. Because if anything goes wrong in our nuclear power plant, we cannot delete nuclear waste. We'd be stuck with it forever. So we're building this whole factory here just to make and process the waste and sink it. So for uranium waste, we'll have all these different items stored up. We'll be using weird alternate recipes in order to be more uranium waste efficient. And then after we get rid of uranium waste, we'll have to worry about plutonium waste. That's why we have this. Similar thing where we're gonna bring in these certain items. We'll automate some Fixonium, make it into fuel rods, and then we can't actually sink the fuel rods, so we're gonna have to build some extra nuclear power plants in order to burn them. And I say going to build as if I haven't already built all this stuff. No, last time we started our emergency waste plant, which is way over in the cliffs there, next to our nuclear power plant. And we have our initial design set up, we have all of the machines built in, and now comes the hard part of actually hooking everything together. There are a lot of big machines in here. There are a lot of wacky steps, and in between each step, we need a big buffer because none of the production rates here are going to be accurate. Again, the idea is to process waste. Doesn't matter how fast, it's just the deed needs to be done. And for example, in here, right? We'd have a storage for encased plutonium cells and pressure conversion cubes. After we make them on site here, because we might be making like 1,000 of these per minute, getting rid of uranium waste, but then we won't have enough pressure conversion cubes and yada yada. This also means we need to store all of the starter material, the stuff used to process the waste. So we'll need stockpiles of uranium, acids, electromagnetic control rods, trigons, and the works. And most of those items we're gonna be bringing over via this huge pellet highway and sending to bins. Oh, and then at some point we have to set up like a quadrillion batteries, but we'll get to that later first. Project Whoos. What are we doing? Materials stored, concretes, PCCs, wastewater processing. Oh, limestone for that. Singularity cells, dark matter residue. Holy smokes. This is very involved. But the main thing, the worst thing, is the uranium waste. We'll be making some plutonium waste, sure, but uranium waste? 2,520 that per minute. Very scary. We do not want something going wrong with that. 1 hour of whoopsies is 150,000 barrels of waste. And in ye olde Satisfactory, the video game, 1 hour is like a blink of an eye. So uranium waste storage is priority 1. And I have a really good idea. This big central shaft here is for a vertical item bus. So the items that are entering the emergency building here will go up, down, and be moving all around. But another thing is, we're working in this cool, like, plateau-y mushroom hill island area. I don't know what to call it, okay? And because we're working on a mesa, we've built on top of one of these little plateaus. But now it looks like this building is floating. I don't like how it's floating. I have a radical idea where we're gonna have all of the nuclear waste stored under here. Oh my gosh, my hover pack. No, ew. Nature, it's all over my pants. Anyway, we're gonna have all of the uranium waste stored down here in a huge buffer bin area. So nothing too crazy, nothing too complex. We'll probably have a stack of 3, maybe 4. Oh yeah, in fact, actually, I didn't even think of this. We could make it look like the industrial storage containers are actually a support for the build here. Ooh, and maybe if we like encase them, could look even more cool. Oh, you better believe it. And that solves like 2 huge problems. So then here's the deal. We'll have these 3 storage bins tall. We'll go back just a little bit to fill in the space. I don't know, to like here. Or maybe just to match this wall down to here. Cool. And then the best thing of all is since we have these Mark 6 belts that are made out of a light, they look really, really cool when you paint them in funky colors. Specifically, the ultra colors, like the ultra white or abyssal black, or if you want to get really crazy, the ultra green. That's not ultra green. I want the ultra green. How you make the ultra colors is you can actually type in here and make this like, I don't know, -1,000, +1,000? Nope. I don't know. You mess around with these numbers by typing them in. I lost it. Okay, anyway, it's very, very green. And when you paint the light belts, okay, they become extremely, extremely, extremely bright. Didn't expect the flashbang radioactiveness of them. Unironically looks incredible. But if we had belts like that all over the place, this would be too radioactive for my eyes, okay? So maybe we don't use the ultra colors. Whoops. Please go back to normal. Cool. Oh my gosh, okay. Not flashbangy. Just a neat, normal-ish green that will be covered in thousands of barrels of uranium waste. Cool. And for those who can still see after getting flashbanged, yeah, things are looking great. Look at those green belts. They're so pretty with all the scaffolding and stuff. And then all the material will run up the side of the wall and into the blenders, where they will be processed. The big thing is, the whole building overall looks a million times better with that now. It just needed a little support. In fact, I like the idea so much, I copied it pretty much for the plutonium as well. So plutonium, we're not gonna have a lot of excess, hopefully. So we just have a couple bins, and I incorporated a little waterfall to, I don't know, like cool the waste. I think that looks pretty neat. But still, lots more stuff to store. And a lot of the stuff will be relatively simple, except for the acids. We need sulfuric and nitric acid in order to turn the uranium waste into the spicy broccoli, i.e. non-fissile uranium. But good news is when we're working on one of our other projects, the Starforge, we made these really, really neat fluid storage towers that have like 3-4 bouffars built in, look really neat, and very, very conveniently have the pumps built in so they'll work and we don't have to worry about having to add them in later. And I'm thinking we're gonna have all the storages back here. So we'll have some nuclear power plants pumping out the smoke, and then behind them, a supermassive acid bank. And once these are painted to their respective acid colors, ooh, this is gonna be a really, 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 really nice feature. Even just doing that, it's like, wow, so much better. Yeah, the acid's gonna be mission critical. Out of everything in our world, getting fluids to the emergency site here would be the most difficult. Or apparently it's steel beams. But no, during an emergency, moving fluids would be a big problem. So lots of storage is mission critical. But yeah, probably 6 towers would be pretty good. 3 for nitric, 3 for sulfuric. Then we can just bring the pipes over the roof as well to add some detail. And with all of our blueprints, this sort of stuff takes no time. I did switch out the towers though for a smaller version. I have a 4 bouffar tall one and then the 3 bouffar tall ones, because I wanted to have more towers in here to fill out the space, and I think it looks a lot better. Painted all the pipes, got them all hooked up, and we are good to rock and roll. Acids are all ready to be stored. In fact, a lot of stuff is ready to be stored. I've been busy working on the other stuff. So we're gonna have to store a lot of concrete. So that's gonna be stored just out here. Pressure conversion cubes over to there. And then outside, behind our nuclear waste storage area, I made a uranium ore storage right at the core of the factory, right in the back here. Mostly because if anything needs to be expanded, this will probably have to be expanded, but I thought this would be a good start. No, wait, no. We have both the mild and the spicy rocks being stored here. Yeah, we need limestone. Lots of limestone. When we make the spicy, wait, it's not literally called spicy broccoli, what's it called? The non-fissile uranium, it has the water byproduct. So we want the limestone to make wet concrete, so we have a way to sink that excess water. So limestone, very, very, very important. Also, I just like that. The mild and spicy rocks together, just, it fits. And I don't know if I mentioned this last episode, but a big thing that we are working with is this big plateau, right? So we're working underneath here and we're working above. And in doing so, we're able to make these tunnels, i.e. we bring the belts through the terrain and then up into the factory up above. And to do this, I just have these big pillar supports kind of indented into the floor so we can tell which belts are being brought up from below. Now, is this clipping? Yeah, look, it is. And it's really annoying to do. Like, what I have to do is I have to, like, hold it there, go underneath, then I have to hope that the belt actually goes to the right spot and not into something else. But man, how often do we have these kind of opportunities where we can work above and below the ground? It's so neat. It'd be a shame to waste this space, right? So please forgive me, for I have clipped. It's 2026. I'm a new person. Maybe even crazier than before. I will say, doing all the vertical belt work, this does drive someone a little nuts. But it's in place, and it should be okay. So all these belts on the main belt highway, they're all set and designated with certain items. Some is the spicy ore, some are the electromagnetic control rods, the pipes. The empty belts are going to be the trigons and the singularity cells, and the belts on top are going to be 2 for uranium waste and 1 for plutonium waste. And those all get directed to their specified bins. So great! Storage is in place, portal set down just as a reference for where I want to have my walking paths, and we are ready to actually start setting some of this stuff up. There are a lot of inputs and outputs to direct all over the place, and it's gonna get very, very, very chaotic in here. And the first thing we really want to deal with is those acids. Fluids can be spooky, so I want them out of the way ASAP. So right now, we have the acid coming into this emergency facility via these 2 pipes here from the main belt highway. When they come in, they go to the fluid buffers, and then from there, they directly go back out and into the floor or right over here. And from the floor, we will bring them to the blenders. And how we'll do that is we'll have another temporary floor, probably looking like this, but centered. We need to have this centered. Yeah, just like this. So we can do all of the pipe loading essentially on the ceiling. As we build on this temporary floor, we'll just use straight belt build mode to set these up. And once we're done, we'll get rid of the temporary floor. We'll get just rid of the supports. Then we'll have these floating pipes that'll look really neat. Maybe we can use some decorations to make them look even better. Like, one of my favorite things to do instead of having like floating pipes everywhere is to have a frame pillar, kind of like mini nudge it. So it looks like there's some like metal holding the pipes up, because we don't have ceiling pipe supports. Well, we have these, and I guess we could use like these sorts of ceiling pipe supports, but the height variations are really weird. So most of the time, I just like my frame pillars. Anyway, we bring them downtown over to here, and then we start retrofitting the blenders. The reason why they're all yellow right now is this is actually a blueprint for diluted fuel blenders, or I thought we might do the pipework like this, but that's not the case anymore. So all this goes bye-bye. We're painting it green. We're just gonna bring the pipes from down there up to here. In fact, actually, let's just get these out of the way. And can we have this there? How would that look? Oh my gosh, it's actually perfect. Are you for real? It's just straight up and down. Little indicator on there too, bud? Maybe. Might get a little too busy with like all the different pipes we have in here, but that's pretty nice. But then we might have to switch up how we have the pipes done over there. In fact, it would make my life a lot easier, because if we just stack the next pipe just like so, then we already know they're straight and it looks really, really good. So yeah, I'll reorder those. And as for the items, it's just uranium waste and uranium, and those can be belted in anywhere. The blenders are floating for that reason, just so the belt works a little bit more convenient. But as for the water byproduct, there's a couple ways we can go about that. Let's try this first though. We're gonna go from A. What is, I did not expect that to work like this. Technically it's A to B. Wait a second, can we go from A? What? Very interesting. Never mind about any of that. We are doing something entirely different. We'll have one of these down here, probably about there. Maybe scoot you around like so, and then you like this, except why are you being so funky? What? You know, it looks kind of cool, except it's so cursed. No, I just want these two blenders to connect together. Since they're all gonna be the same with water, right? It's like, why not? It's being a little difficult. So maybe if we went a little lower down? Yeah, something like that. There we go. And we go up that way and make it look a lot better. But again, just combining the outputs for these, at least for the fluids, so they can go towards these refineries to be combined with limestone and just be sunk. We'll probably have to mess with this a bit more. One of the things I'm trying to do here is keep the floor space free so the belt work isn't as difficult. Because Dream World, just have one belt going like so, next belt like that, and then we can just do a real simple overflow system where we stack up one splitter here, another splitter there, and off to the races it goes. And credit where credit's due. Good job, past Kibs. This worked out great. So with the pipes, figured it out a little bit differently. So we have the junction right there. But the main thing is I just kept the pipes up higher so all the belt work could just be overflowed and it's done. Simple. As for the water though, I realized we're actually going to have a lot of water as a byproduct. So I needed two pipes. So the pipes go down to here, are pumped outside for aesthetic reasons really, and then brought downstairs to go into all of the refineries. Pretty sure the limestone's hooked up? Wait, then why isn't it here? I don't know. I should do that. I will do that later. Good luck, future Kibs. Big thing is, this first step is all good. And check this out. The pipes on the ceiling look? Ooh, very good. And those frame pillars came in clutch to make it all look like it's hanging down. So all that overflowing, going down into all of the blenders. And at the end of the day, everything ends up going to some fluid buffers that are just outside of the wall here. Not because we have to have them, just because, again, they look cool. And then all of the non-fissile uranium will be stored in these bins because we need storage, again, between every single step. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, this plant is not about efficiency. It is about getting the job done. So rates could be very, very, very different between stages, which also has been kind of fun. It's nice not having to worry about like the exact production rates of every single little thing. Just connecting systems A to B. Now where is C? Well, if we have all this non-fissile uranium, the goal is to make that into plutonium. So we are going to belt that all over into these loops. The loops are going to be combining the non-fissile stuff with uranium waste to make plutonium pellets. This will just be another simple system where we have some splitters overflowing the items, scooting over this way and into the machines. Wait, is there enough space in between here? We do have the power of mini lift. Mini lift can help us through a lot of different issues. That looks a little funky. And wait a second, does that even matter? What about this? Are they gonna have another like merger way up on top here? Technically this will work. Yeah, it's a little too close for comfort though, eh? Or maybe it's kind of looks cool? I don't know. Can we push these all back at all? Technically, yes. We have two tiles free back here. Yeah, you know what? I might just do that because inputs, outputs aren't that difficult. It's just two particle accelerators in a row. And at this point, I am practically a particle accelerator expert. I've built one or two back in my day. And after a little pushing and shoving, all of this stuff is way better spaced out and looks great. Gosh, I am falling in love with these green belts as well. They are so nice. But oh my goodness, funny story. Where we have these cool fluid storage towers, right? And I was like, what if we could build something like this, but for item storage bins? Like, it'd be pretty important going forward. We're gonna be building bins for the rest of time, so why not? So I was like, hey, we'll have an input line, output line, and then lots and lots of backup storage. So all stuff will go into here, skewed on into a bigger bin, and then we'll try and make it a little bit compact and very stackable. Essentially, a large-scale version of the industrial storage containers themselves. So I built a little shape like this. And I'm like, okay, we like the shape. Let's try and add in some walls here so we can cover some of the belts. That would look good too. Add in this nice foundation here. Another one there. Very boxy, but it's so plain, right? So then I wrapped it in a nice beam. Beam goes up, beam goes over, copy on the other side, etc., etc. So I go through this whole process for like an hour and a half. And you know what I come up with? I make this. This is the pretty bin blueprint, where we have, I think it's 8 of these storage containers built in. It's all wrapped up. I think it looks pretty cool. I decided to have some of these big frame pillars in between here, etc., etc. But after I had built this, I didn't realize that I was literally just copying how the other pins look. Like, it's practically a 1-for-1. This is just the normal bin. This is the pretty bin. I had no idea what I was doing until it was done. But you know what? I'm happy with it. And even better, it's stackable. So we can have one here, stack the blueprint up in case we need more. And it's easy to kind of like hook together like this. Cool, eh? Anyway, that was a fun use of like an hour and a half. But it got the job done. Once all the plutonium pellets are made, it goes into the pretty bin over here, ready for the next stage, where we encase the plutonium pellets in concrete in these assembler chunks. And at this point, it's a lot more of the same, where we just have the items being made. We'll go into another bin, and off to the races we go until we're at plutonium. And then we're done. Stage 1. But to do something a little different, I want to add in the storage in between these stages underneath the plateau here. In fact, I want to have like some bins built into the cliff side. Like ideally at the end of the day, we'll have bins and machines all down here to fill up the space. So let's play some roulette. Let's try building the lift here. I'll go downstairs and see if we don't clip into terrain. Practically perfect. So we'll have that set up. I like to make these the Mark 6 because they're covered conveyors. Just look a little bit better, especially when we're clipping through the terrain. And then we'll bring a foundation over. So that way we can nudge kind of like an entry-exit path right into here. Clip that up. There we go. We'll have one lift that brings the items down, and then we'll have to have another lift that brings the items back up so they can enter the next chunk of assemblers. And to make this look a little bit more interesting, we have those supports, right? Small pillar supports, yes. The underside of them is the exact size of a conveyor lift, so it can look pretty nice. I think we'll actually move this a little bit so the lifts are centered in the platform. We'll get rid of the scaffolding. And to make this look a little bit better, we can add some walls to the side, just for a different texture, and maybe even a frame wall. Yeah, so it kind of looks like a bit of a chute. After some moving and grooving and a coat of paint, the bins are in, and it's looking good. But after building this, I just had this absolutely inspired idea. You see all this flat space we have kind of on the ceiling roof? Well, what if we had some bins literally hanging down from it? Check her out, bud. So same kind of concept, same kind of belts going up and down, except this time I scooted some small pillar supports and these big cable clusters to make it look like all the bins are hanging down. Kind of looks like a sled to BH, but maybe we can adjust that later on. Really happy with the concept at least. And that'll be for storing plutonium fuel rods, because there wasn't too much to do after the storage. We brought all the belts together, we sent them underground, they come back up, and for plutonium fuel rods, we just had to bring over the conversion cubes, in case plutonium's was right there. Everything goes through the chunk, down to that hanging platform, back up again, and into an awesome sink. And with that system, we can get rid of all of the uranium waste we need to, so long as supplies last, which they will forever, hopefully. But the party ain't over, because now we get to move on to Fixonium, our plutonium waste processing, where you take the plutonium waste, combine it with singularity cells and dark matter residue to make Fixonium, which we then move upstairs into a quantum encoder, combined with a couple other goodies to make our Fixonium fuel rods, and then send those into some nuclear power plants, which should be pretty simple. Kibs screams internally because it's not gonna be easy. Or well, I guess the belt work for this part of the process will be pretty straightforward. Like it's just gonna be inputting 2 different items into a particle accelerator, just like we did before. And by the power of mini lift, it's really not too difficult. What I didn't really look at was how much dark matter residue we would need. It's a lot. 500 per particle accelerator. There's 6 of them built in here. So 6 times 5, that's 3,000 dark matter residue if we wanted to run these all like well. Now, do we have to run them well? Not really. Do we have to overclock them? Nah. But here's the deal. We can have all of these gas buffers built into a wall over here, and maybe we could run the Fixonium system like at capacity, at least for a little bit, before supplies run out. So we'll fill these all up with dark matter residue. We'll organize them a bit better later. And then we just need the dark matter residue itself. I'm not gonna bring pipes of dark matter residue. No. Instead, we'll be bringing over our precious purple lunch boxes, the reanimated SAM. And we'll just throw the reanimated SAM in a converter to make some dark matter residue. And this was pretty much the plan from the beginning. And I had set up a couple of these converters to do that job. Except we only have 4 here. And if we have 4 here, even if we fully overclock these, right? It'd only be 1,000 dark matter residue per minute. And when the buffers run out, this whole system's just gonna putter. So now, perfect world, I kinda wanna switch this over just to dealing with excited photonic matter for the stage in the quantum encoders here. And instead, I wanna build more converters for dark matter residue. But outside, if we're doing storage along the wall here, can't really build there. The roof is already pretty busy. I don't want to extend the building too much further, or else it'll kind of ruin the aesthetics. And yeah, things have gotten pretty crazy in here, so adding any more converters in the interior ain't gonna be it, Chief. So the plan is, we're gonna stuff all of the converters downstairs. Look at all that free space. Am I right? How many of these do we want to build? Well, as many as we can. There's that's it, really. As many as we can aesthetically. Beggars can't be choosers in this situation. I feel like a good place to put the converters would be like somewhere about here. I don't want it underneath the waterfalls, as it would ruin the vibes. And it should be a pretty simple system. We'll have 4 converters probably per floor here. It's just 1 item to 1 product. So we'll have the lunch boxes overflow through this way. Then all of the gas will go out this way. Could we stack these? Oh, that'd be so cool if we could stack these vertically right now. Oh, we can! And there's still space up above. Wait, can we get 3? Now I'm being greedy, but I have a dream. Oh, if we could do this, we could make 3,000 freaking dark matter residue per minute. It technically fits. I'd have to adjust like this scaffolding up here, but this is just an aesthetic. Having all of these stacked up, that'd be so functional. Okay, yeah, we're gonna try it out because all of the belt work and pipe work is gonna be so simple. Just bring this up, throw in like merger somewhere on the line, and then bring all of the pipes, probably over to this pillar, through this scaffolding, following along with these water pipes, and then bring it all upstairs and into the build. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Survey says, I don't think so. Yeah, building this was a little bit cumbersome. It's easy to put together, but I don't know if it like looks good. I want it to look like a post, but I also don't want to block off the converters because I like seeing the converters. They're my favorite machine in the game. Look at all the hexagons, aren't they the best? I don't know. We'll leave this be for the time being because I've put enough time into it already and I want to move on. But yeah, just as I said, the pipes kind of go along the ceiling here. Follow the water, up they go. And then the lunch boxes will scoot on down this way, down the pillar and into the spire. And I suppose the main thing is, it does fill out the space down here quite nicely. We'll go through this entire build and do like a proper decorative pass in a little while. But right now, I can live with that. Here's hoping future Kibs is a bit more inspired. Nice thing about all of this dark matter residue though, is that it's a gas, so no pumps, no worries. We are so chillin'. All the pipes just have to go to their destination, which is these buffers over here. So everything goes into the buffers, back out through the wall, and then since we had some space on the roof, the chrome pipes skewed over in this empty space and into all of the particle accelerators to make Fixonium. Easy peasy. Gosh, I love gases. Gases are so nice. And the pipes being all chrome with the purple residue inside is gonna look awesome. Yeah, belt work simple. Piping, because it's gas, is no biggie. And then the outputs just scoot underneath the machines because I ran out of space here. And they actually go outside. So the Fixonium will scoot out the door and into the shaft here. Here, like most of our other items, everything will be stored underneath and in a bulk storage area. After that, we'll head back up. And now we're gonna have to bring everything up to the final step. The quantum encoders here. We have 8 of these bad boys that can make the Fixonium fuel rods. Good news, the control rods and trigons, we're just bringing those in via a belt. I already have a storage bin right here for the electromagnetic control rods. Trigons, they're gonna be downstairs. I just found a bin like over here. Oh, what is this? Your choice, future Kibs. This will be for singularity cells then, and then the trigons will just be down here. Easy. And I guess we'll just have to bring the trigons up here. Is there any way up? We will find a way up. Anyway, the main thing is everything is ready in there, and it's more so gonna be the excited photonic matter and the Fixonium that's gonna be a bit of an issue. Oh, and the residual dark matter residue. I almost forgot about that. Well, one step at a time. Excited photonic matter. Let's finish up dealing with the gases. And we're gonna make it in these 4 converters here. That'll be more than enough for the Fixonium up there. And again, it's a gas. So we can just combine these together. Do something like this. Bring the pipe up to the ceiling here and scoot it on over to a storage. And for excited photonic matter, I like to paint these pipes white because the matter stuff is blue. It can look really, really nice. So I'll scoot over, and then I have some extra storage bins way off in the back here. So we have 4 big fluid buffers towers for the dark matter residue, and 2 big towers for the photonic matter. Are these towers really important? No. Does it fill out the detail on this wall? You better believe it. So that's why we have them here. Oh, aren't they beautiful, eh? This is what I'm telling you about these pipes. They need to be painted white. It's gorgeous. And what's even better is we make this matter out of thin air. With the technology and, 400 megawatts, we have excited photonic matter on site being made, stored, and looking great. And the pipe work is wacky and wild. I had a little bit of fun with it considering we don't need to deal with any pumps. So I just brought it over that way, brought the pipes back this way, outside, up on the roof, then back down, and then over into our quantum encoders. And oh my gosh, please do this. Please do this. I cannot believe I didn't do this at the start of my playthrough of Satisfactory, the video game. But when I was trying to connect these pipes up vertically, I realized, oh my gosh, why can't I just have these pipeline junctions always vertical? Like there's no way to make them vertical unless you build them on a wall and then you nudge them, but then you have to have them in the right orientation and nudge them. It's annoying. But then I was like, wait a second. Oh my gosh. Blueprints. We have blueprints in the game. Satisfactory, the video game. This is a game changer. I don't know why I didn't make this blueprint sooner. It makes my life so much easier. Plot one in there, no problems. Nudged one up, right into here, no problem. Connect the pipes, A to B, C to D, and all of the pipe work is done. It's revolutionary. It's on my hotbar, and it will be there forever because I cannot live without that Now that I know that it exists, make this blueprint in your own worlds. It will save your life. So convenient. Almost as convenient as these vertical splitters and mergers, also a huge lifesaver. If we didn't have these nowadays, this whole system would be a mess. So the Fixonium, I found a lane to bring those up, or I kind of made one. Once it goes to the storage, the Fixonium goes up again through the wall, way over this way, upstairs, and then it's just split all over the place. Because we have the vertical splitters and mergers, splitting them to the 8 machines wasn't actually too bad. In fact, none of this will be too bad, because that was the hard part. Now we just have to get the trigons and those control rods to do the same thing, which is doing this and that, I think 16 times. And you know what? No, I think I take it back. I think this vertical merger blueprint thing, our junction, in the long haul is gonna completely change the way I play the game. I cannot believe I just didn't build this earlier. It's been 1,000 hours in this playthrough, and I may have just made my most functional blueprint yet. Crazy how it works, eh? But anyway, belt work is done, was no problem at all. We have all the items nearby, and it's just splitting and overflow and none of that jazz. Is that crazy? What's crazy is the outputs. We have to actually get rid of that dark matter residue and the Fixonium fuel rods, right? Well, the dark matter residue scoots on down, and then we have to get rid of it somehow. But also it's super valuable too, right? Remember back at the Fixonium stage, each of these Fixonium particle accelerators is hungry. So I don't necessarily just want to sink it immediately. So I did something far more complicated. The dark matter residue all combines together into one pipe, which would work, right? 5 times 8, 400 dark matter residue, yep. Then it goes downstairs again, downstairs into the abyss, and down here, I squished a particle accelerator because we had no room upstairs. And this particle accelerator takes the Fixonium fuel rod, byproduct dark matter residue, and then makes it into dark matter crystals with this alternate dark matter crystallization. It's very straightforward. Quick little bouffard bin, and then a belt that goes into the awesome sink. However, if this machine fills up or there's excess residue, I have another pipe that goes back up and rejoins the main residue pipes. So maybe some of it can be used to make more Fixonium. I don't know if exactly that'll work or not, but it's worth a shot. And more dark matter residue pipes is good in my book. Look at how cool they look, right? So fancy. Makes this place look even more complicated and crazy, which just adds to the pizzazz. But last thing I need to do is get our main product, the Fixonium fuel rods, onto one belt and out of Dodge. So all the fuel rods skewed out to a storage bin, distributed from a splitter into another storage bin, and then finally into the nuclear power plants to be burned. And yes, they have to be burned. You cannot sink Fixonium fuel rods. You gotta use them in the power plant to get rid of them. And then as for the water, I dealt with that last time, and I just had to connect the pipes up from A to B, C, and D. So no biggie there either. Which means vehicles are in a deadlock. Don't worry about that. That's like 2 trucks. They have problems. We don't. Our plant should be fully functional, technically. The belts are connected, emergency storage bins in place, the power lines are all organized, the pipes are in, and this whole system is ready to go. Which means it's time to finish up the nuclear power plant. Ooh, not quite. We still gotta decorate the emergency plant like we did the rest of our areas here. And then also, we're going to have to do a test. That's right, we're gonna have to make some plutonium waste. We're gonna have to fiddle with all of this, bring over excess materials, activate the controls in our emergency plant, and pray that in all of our fiddling, we don't blow up our world grid. Because if we lose power at this point, we are in a horrifically bad spot. However, bringing all the waste and materials over will be something we do next time. And I'll be calling it here for now. But again, that's gonna be all. So if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more. And until next time, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.